It's Numbers on Live, powered by SOFASCORE here on CBS Sports Golazo. This is our fan-submitted question. Who's better, Ney in his prime or CR7 in his prime? JayDee Dyer Nico Cantor ready to break this all down, but before we even get into it, JD, we had a long discussion in the production room. How do you quantify a prime? Because this is not comparing Neymar's best moments versus Ronaldo's best moments. Everyone had at a moment. Prime Neymar is greater than Prime Ronaldo. Bit crazy. For us, it was very difficult to choose Prime Ronaldo. Because I think Prime Ney has an era. I think there's a good chunk where you say that was Neymar at his peak. Where was Ronaldo at his peak?
He didn't just have one, he had a number of peaks. In fact, his peak is probably over a decade. But in fairness for this conversation, we'll try to limit it to a 4-year period of time. We're just gonna apologize in advance because his peak is so good, his prime is so good, that unfortunately, there are gonna be moments that we refer to that are outside of a particular period of 2011 to 2015. Because I can hear the CR7 fans already screaming, well, how are you not acknowledging this part? And how are you not acknowledging his Man United years and what he's done in terms of the Champions Leagues? We're trying to make it a fair debate. But I'm gonna apologize in advance. I don't believe in fairness on this. We believe in just turn around and telling the truth.
So CR7 from like the tail end of his United days, the 08, 09, 07, 08, all the way through like 2018 is Prime Ronaldo to me. But to make it comparable in a 4-year stint, we chose 3 of his top goal-scoring seasons come in that 2011 to 2011-15 season.
Nico, 256 goals?
Just more goals than games.
I'm just gonna...
I mean, it's next level, right? Ronaldo. And then to me, he even gets better as time goes on. He goes from man to machine after that 2015 Barcelona season. So let's compare.
Let's do it.
Right? These are our categories that we've been playing with over the last couple of seasons. JD is going to choose, I'm going to choose, and then we're going to have SOFASCORE give their opinion per the number. So
you might be kicking this off.
Technical ability.
I'm going to talk about the technical ability, and I think both of these are both technical, I would say, masters of the game, in terms of there's nothing that either of these individuals can't do on a pitch. But how I break down technical ability is your ability to actually extend in terms of the different levels within the technique, right? Mm-hmm. So I've looked at CR7, I've looked at Neymar, and we're going to talk about the comparisons in their game first. Both incredibly flashy wingers. In terms of manipulation of a football and dribbling ability, they both have had spells where they're incredible. Could arguably say they're the best dribblers in world football at a time in their life. But what I have understood is, look at the development of what he's done technically, because technique goes beyond just being able to trap a football, extend the passing range, and everything else. It goes into, look at the right foot, look at the left foot technique, look at the heading ability. Those are all technical qualities that are developed. I then think about what all these kids are doing now in the garden, and I see them go, whoo, why do they do it?
No, but
afterwards, wait, let me explain.
Because that means they're GOAT.
No, it's not just that. It's the knuckleball, which I think he has revolutionized as a free kick technique and brought through in terms of being able to strike the ball through the front of the foot. It's a complete, I never saw it before. The only person that I saw that was close, you know who I'm going to talk about, is Janini Opombokanu.
Yeah.
But he was very different in the way that he did his in comparison to Ronaldo. So I gave Ronaldo the technical ability because of the layers. Oh, I like this.
I disagree with
because of the layers in which he developed each part. The left foot, the right foot, the heading technique, the passing ability, and of course, both of them can turn around and say they were elite dribblers.
To the same extent, in that era, I was seeing people trap a ball with their behind, right? A big switch. Neymar would drop it on a dime.
Are we on the beach now? Is that what we're doing? We're on the beach?
But that's what Neymar brought to the table. Neymar brought wonder, poetry to football. In that era between Messi and Suarez, that trio was one of the best trios, if not the best trio I've ever seen in world football. So I don't want to diminish CR7's technical ability. He's obviously an extraordinary, if not one of the best that I've ever seen with my own eyes. And plus, for me, Ronaldo's better than Neymar just altogether. But technical ability, the things that Neymar was doing from his feet, the way that he was dribbling past players, combining, I think of the pre-2014, but Ney at Santos, he brought that into La Liga. And to me, that's technical ability. And it kind of blends into playmaking because Ney was that type of playmaker. He had more assists in that time than CR7. CR7, he does this thing where he transforms from CR9 into CR7. At Madrid, he took the 9 jersey first, and then he changed into 7, the goal scorer. There was like a moment of transition, right? From being a winger to being a lethal, ruthless threat in front of goal that made him from man into machine. And that's why from playmaking, I think Ney is in that category, gets the check in that category.
Look, when it comes to playmaking, I can actually agree with you in terms of what Neymar does, but I have to turn around and say conclusively, we're going to come back to that debate about what technique is down to, because we are going to defer on it, and that's cool, I understand that part, but I feel like this part is conclusive. In terms of being a goal threat, no disrespect to Neymar, incredible footballer, one of the best we've seen of a generation, will go down as an all-time great. But this is the greatest goal scorer in the history of football. You can talk about Pele, you can talk about Bican, you can talk about all of those legends that have scored all of those hundreds of goals in football. This guy's 960 and counting. Highest Champions League goal scorer of all time, period. Talk about international goals, 143, still counting. In terms of what he's done in a Real Madrid shirt, a Juventus shirt, a Man United shirt, and I know we're still talking about this peak here from 2011, 2015. I remind you again, 256 goals during that period of time. Forget about it. This is not a conversation. Let's just move on to the next one.
I don't care who you compare him to and what time, Ronaldo's always going to win that category.
It's not a conversation.
Right? Big games, I went with Ronaldo. And although I think of Champions League finals, in this time, they both each won a Champions League final. I think Cristiano did a little bit more heavy lifting for his team rather than Ney, although that Champions League final, he scores the very last goal against Atletico Madrid. Regardless, I think Chris was the focal point of that team, and without Ronaldo, they wouldn't have gotten to where they got, whereas Ney was obviously an important player, and role player is too small, but he wasn't the main guy because you had Messi and Suarez, and I think at the end, that's why he moves to PSG and tries to become that main guy, and this kind of blends into his PSG time, where he was able to get to a Champions League final, but unable to win. So for me, yeah, big games, CR7.
And I'm just going to remind everybody, bear in mind, he did go to the Nou Camp and tell everybody let's just calm down a little bit. Let me just remind you that I'm here. Let's just calm down. In terms of big games, you remember those moments?
Yeah.
Certain people just stand out. And we didn't even talk about any of the Champions League success that was post this, or the big games that you have for Manchester United.
Yeah.
This is just trying to be fair to 2011 to 2015 and sensational all the way through. International success, now can we widen the parameters a little bit? Because I think both of them had great international success outside of this period.
Right.
So is it fair that for this one category, we widen it, and I just turn around and talk about the European Championship that he delivered, the Nations League that he delivered, and also 143 goals and counting.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like, I don't think, when Nikolai, in terms of the tweet was sent in, I get it, I appreciate it, trust me. There is not anybody that understands and loves watching Neymar more than myself. But when you start breaking it down into categories, it's starting to look a little bit lopsided, Nico. And the international success I have to put on the forefront for CR7.
I think this is debatable because, yes, the Euro, he didn't play in the final, but he was a critical part in Portugal coming third in the group, making it out and then going to the knockout stage. But then you look at his World Cup numbers, it's not that great. I obviously am giving Cristiano the X factor here just because he's Cristiano. The GOAT debate happens with him and Messi for a reason, because there's nobody else. Ronaldo can go silent, ghost, for 75 minutes of a game, and then blink of an eye, hat trick. Like, that's how crazy it was at Real Madrid. Some of you guys may be too young to remember that, but Ronaldo was never out of a game, even if he was ghosting a game. So we want you guys to chime in on this debate before SofaScore gets involved, because SofaScore is gonna have their say on who they think is better in each of these categories. I would have debated you a little bit more on the international success side of things. Oh, look at that. I would have said exactly what SofaScore said if I had to choose the categories.
Nah.
I thought the technical ability would have been on Ney's side, and the international success. In that time, Ney wins the Olympics with Brazil.
I get that part.
And Ronaldo doesn't win anything.
But respectfully, we're talking about the Olympics, and this is someone who's been to the Olympic Games, and it's the best thing I've ever done in my career.
Okay,
period.
there's a but coming
I stand
up.
on it. But I will turn around and say to you, what is the quality of squads that are always going to the Olympic Games? It isn't always what Brazil did in that time, because they put their best foot forward.
But Brazil had never won the Olympics up until that point.
They don't.
The Olympics were in Brazil.
I've seen a GB squad that didn't include some of the best players in Great Britain.
Yeah,
I've seen squads that have gone to the Olympic Games.
Yeah, you still got to go out there and do it, and I think it was very representative for Ney. But again, I think if we are going to widen the parameters, just like Cristiano has the Euro, Ney eventually got his Copa America, right? But again, you can then say, did people expect Portugal to win the Euros? Probably not. Did people expect Brazil to win the Copa America? Probably. But then, okay, let's take it a step further. What did they do with the World Cup? Cristiano hasn't scored. There's one World Cup in there, right? But let's just go throughout their entire careers. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't have a knockout stage goal in the World Cup.
See, this is where I start thinking that this is not really fair, right? When you start turning around and talking about best result in major tournaments during this period of time, I understand we're doing this, but I'm going to rip up the script once again and say this isn't the best result that he's had in a major tournament in terms of representing his country. No way. We have accolades.
Same could go for Ney.
And you could, but this is where we've got to be fair, and this is why we said at the beginning of this, right? How do you define someone's prime in their peak? It's impossible with CR7, and this is
honestly,
why...
If you will, in 2014, Ney gets to the semifinals of the World Cup.
And that's a bigger achievement.
He doesn't play in the semifinal because he got injured against Colombia in the previous round.
But his performances leading up to that semifinal.
Yeah, and they lost 7-1, I get it. But maybe it would have been different with Ney there, but he didn't play in it. So it is kind of comparing apples to oranges because perhaps the biggest achievement doesn't come in their prime. You get me?
I like this bit of the finish. Average Ballon d'Or finish, 1.5. Yeah, because you lived through that era, right? You know who it was. It was Messi or it was Ronaldo. It was almost as conclusive as Michael B. Jordan picking up that award yesterday. You knew it was only going to one person, and you knew it was either going to go to one or the other. It was 1A and 1B during that period of time, and rightfully so. I see you going through some things here. You talking about goal-winning contributions. Did that surprise you?
No, just because Ronaldo is inhuman. Like it's superhero level. And I think whenever you compare, there's only one player that you can actually have a numbers debate on against Ronaldo. And it's Messi just because from the numbers perspective. But I'm trying to think of what Nikita was posing, right? Because he sees Ney at his peak. If you wanted to choose like 1 year or maybe a couple of months where Neymar was at his highest, where he was doing poetic things, when he was doing beautiful stuff. And again, it's the whole like heart versus mind debate.
Yep.
I look at the numbers and there's like nobody can beat Ronaldo goal scoring wise. Like it was ridiculous the stuff that he was doing. But I was watching Neymar do things I had never seen a lot of footballers doing. And it's like he brought the happiness back to football. The jogo bonito that Brazil needed for so long. So it's a little bit of that debate. It's like, what do you like emotionally versus what do you like from a ruthless goal scorer perspective? But for me, the numbers that Ronaldo put were not normal.
The numbers are not denying. I tell you what I do want the fans to debate though. What do you refer to as technical ability? Do you love the samba technique, the bouncing off the bum pulls that they do on TV and everything else that goes with it? Or do you prefer the industry? Maybe more European style of where we do it. The left foot, the right foot, the foundations, the heading, the ability to be able to do everything execution-wise on a pitch. It really does depend on what you want. Shout out to the South American, shout out to the European in terms of how we look at it. But one thing we don't deny on this show is numbers never lie. So is it Neymar or is it CR7? You tell us.
Hey, thanks for watching this video from Numbers Don't Lie. Be sure to catch our show every Monday at 5 p.m. on YouTube. And for news and insights from leagues all around the world, including Serie A, EFL, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.